La segunda temporada de Los Anillos de Poder se estrena en Prime Video el 29 de agosto, y en Hobbycine hemos tenido la oportunidad de hablar con sus protagonistas, con Sauron, Celebrimbor, con el Extraño e incluso con sus showrunners, que nos han prometido una temporada mucho más oscura. Vean.
It's an extraordinarily ambitious endeavor, making this show season upon season. We want it to be excellent. We revere the works of Tolkien. We love these books, and we want to bring this era of Middle-earth history to the screen in spectacular fashion. And hopefully, season 2, we're bringing all the institutional knowledge of mounting the first season to mounting a second season, and hopefully that speaks to that plays out in a million ways, episode by episode, scene by scene, that makes season 2 an even bigger, better journey than the first.
Well, the first part was obviously writing them, then casting them, and writing them. We took the keys and the clues that we could from the text. In some places we had a lot, in some places we had a little. Working with with Círdan. Was an amazing thing, being sort of one of the oldest and wisest elves in all of Middle Earth. There's such a depth of history and time to think of as you were considering that, and we cast the amazing Ben Daniels, who has that sort of old soul about him, so I think there's some spectacular scenes for audiences to look out for with him. And then also Tom Bombadil, working with the amazing Rory Kinnear, and another old soul. Tolkien tells us that Bombadil is the eldest, and he was there and remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn. And so writing for characters that had that sort of depth of experience and just existence in Middle-earth was a monumental undertaking. And we again took as much from the text as we could as we were bringing them to life, and then also we're fortunate to work with some really spectacular actors.
So we have a long-term plan. We're incredibly lucky to have been hired to do this, what we call the 50-hour mega epic. And the plan was always to tell season 1 a story about the heroes and about, immersing audiences in this very different, lush era of Middle-earth's history before Sauron came in the open and took over. And we knew that once he was on the board, so to speak, no longer in disguise, that the world would get a lot darker. And I think you start seeing that in season 2. And that makes for a very different kind of journey, but one that's, hopefully gripping from the very beginning. Season 2 starts with a bang. And if you're new to the show or new to Middle-earth, it's a great place to jump in. You can watch the 2-minute recap, and you're off on the ride.
Pressure in the natural world is a good thing. It's pressure that turns coal into diamonds. So we try to take that pressure on and share it as partners and showrunners. But no one could put more pressure on us than we put on ourselves, because we love the material. We come at this first as fans, and so we take that pressure as an expression of love. And whatever sort of form it comes in, we are grateful that we have a fan base and an audience that loves Middle-earth as passionately as they do. So yeah, we take it on every day and try our best to live up to it. We bring everything we have, and we live this 24/7.
I think any elf would be fun to live as a day. Elves can walk on top of the snow. They can swim across the ocean. They're just a little bit heightened from mortal man, and that'd be fun.
I think probably Tom Bombadil, if I could live in his shoes for a day, just because I admire that he has both a deep wisdom, but also doesn't take himself too seriously. He has a whimsy about him, and I love when people are able to balance, the old soul and the young soul kind of coexisting as one.
Great question. That's exactly what it does represent. And the temptation of power and manipulation, all these things are key to Tolkien. And so in a way, our storyline this season kind of encapsulates all of Tolkien's values and opinions on power, on industry, all these things he was so wary
Man
of.
and machine.
Yeah. And how somebody can be pulled towards the dark side.
Yeah. And creation does lead to corruption. Exactly that. And the example is right there in this season.
Yeah.
I love how you've put it, and I think you've hit it exactly on the the nail on the head there. And I think I've been lucky in that, actually, because we start with a character who when they arrive in Middle-earth has nothing, doesn't know any of their backstory, has no history. Everything is a learning experience. It's like a birth of a baby, isn't it? The baby has nothing, and over the course of time, through childhood and growing up into adulthood, there are things that they learn from the people that they're with. That's about friendship or love, or things about themselves, about their own fear or their joy or their anger or their sadness. All these things we're having to learn about, and only when we get to the stage of sort of emotional maturity are we able to start choosing. Are we able to start saying, well, actually, I want to live by these values, or actually, that's maybe not the way I want to live my life. I want to go this route. And I think the stranger is getting to a stage where he's being able to make some choices. Unfortunately, he doesn't have anywhere near the whole picture yet. He still doesn't really understand his past. I don't think, he can speak. It feels like in that moment in episode 8 where he holds the staff up and is able to banish the mystics, it feels like that is a true use of the love that he's understood from the relationship with the Half-Foots, and the energy of the landscape and the Middle-earth is working through him to help banish this awful moment. And he thinks he's cracked it. He thinks this is the way it's always going to be. But unfortunately, that's one tiny strand of it, and he doesn't yet understand how much else he's got to learn. Very soon we're going to see him with Tom Bombadil, who is going to present him with all sorts of new problems that he has no concept of, and he's going to go back to that, having to catch up, having to learn, having to reassess. And it's a joy to film for me. It's a joy as an actor, because you can really be present in the moment, and you can let the imaginative world sort of hit you and soak into you, and just respond, in the moment. So it's been a real gift, I think. I have loved playing the stranger. I think more than any other part I've done, there are things that have come out of his journey that have resonated with my life experience. There are question marks about choices about who I want to be, or values that I might hold or not hold, where they came from, what direction I want to go in, which relationships that I might cherish should be sent front and center, and which sort of wider ideas about society and how I live my life need to come to the front. Those things all resonate, and it's both part of the genius of the original stories, the writing, and also the way that the writers on our show have managed to harness those storylines, that we can see such resonances between iconic sort of fantasy characters and real human existence. Well, I think certainly some understanding of, he is trying to understand how this power that he seems to be able to command fits into a wider context. What does he do? He's reticent at first, I think, to use this power, because he's caused so much damage with it in the first season. But I think there are hints that he thinks he's beginning to understand how to harness it better, or how to be a conduit better. And at times, I think he goes for it, and we will see him really decide that he's got the answer, and this is his time to, and that might be great, and it might be utterly the wrong choice. But we're going to see his journey through that, and him have to cope with the consequences of his actions and what that means for the wider context in this new and dark Middle-earth.